Welcome to my networking session. Can you give me your elevator pitch? Yeah, it's gross, isn't it? I hate it when someone says that to me, and it does kind of naturally make you cringe, whether or not you have an elevator pitch to share. But part of it is knowing what to say. That same thing sometimes is called a business statement, an impact statement. I've heard it called a domino statement, a whoosh statement. There's all sorts of things. On social media, it's effectively your bio. In other places, it's your introduction. In general conversation, it's the answer to the question, what do you do? But when we're writing an elevator pitch, there are some particular elements that we want to put in there just to make sure that it's really effective. And that's what I'm going to go through with you today. So the first question to answer is, what do you do? That's kind of a main question to answer, really, because that's what you want people to know by the time you've finished your statement. And they do have to know what that is. So if I tell people that I teach STEM, that doesn't necessarily mean anything to everybody. Some people don't know what is meant by STEM. But within the education community, they're very likely to know what that is. So sometimes you have to edit for your particular audience. And if there's something that is quite industry specific, quite within your niche, but it's something that your intended audience will know, you can include it in your statement. If it's something that only a specialist would know, which is you and not necessarily your customer, then that's not really the language that you want to use. So because I'm looking for students that are interested in STEM careers, I can use that statement generally in what I say. But if I'm speaking to parents, I would probably not say STEM. I'd say something more specific, science and maths, engineering, computer sciences, depending on the situation. But within my bio, because I want to be known as STEM specialist tutor, I will use that statement. Does this make sense? You want to make sure that you're adjusting the way that you phrase it to your audience, to the person that you're speaking to. And for most of the time in your business, that's the same person. That's your ideal customer. So are they going to understand the language that you use when you describe what it is you do? And is it going to be really obvious what it is that you do? So do you have to mention specifically an age or an exam that you tutor for, or a subject or a specialism that you support them with? Make sure that's in the statement. If you're a specialist in one particular area, that definitely should be in that statement. You want your name associated with that specialism. So make sure to include those specific keywords in your elevator pitch. So the next thing to make sure is clear is, who is it actually for? So within mine, I'd use the word teens. So I'd say that it's for teens. I think that's something that teenagers would be comfortable calling themselves, and parents would be comfortable calling their child. For the most part, it's your child. A lot of the time, your child is a really powerful statement to include, and it is very directly talking to the customer that you're hoping is going to be interested in this elevator pitch. But if you are actually presenting this in a networking session, in a networking event with people that you've never met, your child probably would sound a bit odd. It would still work. On social media, it's totally reasonable to say your child, because you would quite reasonably assume that someone's come to look at your social media platforms because they're interested in seeing more about what you do. Something that you've posted or shared elsewhere has led them to your page. So they would expect you to be talking to them. So you can say something like your child, or pre-teens, or not things like key stage 1. That's not the sort of thing that people refer to themselves as. Or kids is sometimes a little bit of a contentious one to use. So maybe use the language that you hear your customers use in your elevator pitch, because they're more likely to resonate with it if it's something that is their own natural language and it is the way that they refer to themselves. Some things can be really off-putting if it's said the wrong way. So use your existing customers' language. Finally, and most importantly, we need to make sure we show where the value is. So what do people actually get from working with you? And considering this does help to discourage from a quite frequent mistake in people's descriptions and their elevator pitch, which is focusing on yourself. And a lot of what you might have considered already from the previous 2 points might be very much talking about yourself. So we do need to make sure that it's actually not about you at all. So it's definitely not a list of your qualifications and experiences in there. It's all about the person that this service is being delivered for. So what value does that add? Does it help them prepare for exams? Does it build their confidence? Does it support their well-being? Does it help them access independent schools? Does it give them does it support them in a particular passion that they might have? Does it support them in a particular career interest that they might have? What value does your service add to your customers and the families of your customers? You can think about that as a bigger picture, but make sure to pick out the most prominent words that are going to get that message across, right? So for mine, it's going to be about confidence, less stress, GCSE exam pass, achieving their grade goals and going on to further studies in STEM, hopefully. That's a lot. That's not going to fit into there, but those are the sorts of things that you'd be thinking about to choose the best words to fit into your elevator pitch. So now let's have a think about putting all of that together into one elevator pitch. Okay, so how are we turning all of this into our elevator pitch? We need to know what you do, who it's for, what's the value that you provide, so that you can use this in multiple different places. Ideally, you would have all of that information contained within 120 to 150 characters. So that means that you can use it in your social media bios, so from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Threads, wherever else you've got a business account. You can use it in in-person networking events too, or online introductions, and you can use the same phrase in any social media comments and replies, obviously making sure to make them personalized to the thing that you're replying to. You can even put it into your email signature so that people see that message regularly and start to associate that with your name. So you need to be able to share within there succinctly what you do, who it's for, what value you add. So my own bio says, I help teens confidently achieve STEM GCSE exam passes with less stress and more success. So I've shared what I do, STEM GCSE exams, tuition for STEM GCSE exams. Who it's for, I've shared that it's for teens. I've shared the value that it adds with several words. So confidently shows that it adds confidence. Exam passes. It helps students to pass their exams. Less stress reduces their stress in passing their exams. And more success. They are more likely to have that success with this help. I additionally put in a little green heart emoji because I quite frequently use that in my own messaging. It's my name, it's green, it's my business name, Green Tutors. So I've taken to using that green heart emoji everywhere. And putting that also in my bio helps to associate that emoji with me and my messaging. So much as you use branding on your social media platforms and your website and in your emails, you can use things like that in your communication as well. So maybe particular phrases that you use all the time. If you have a particular business slogan or an ebook or a guide or something that you've put a particular phrase in, can you put part of that into your elevator pitch to again associate you with that phrase? Or again, it can be emojis, the same as me. Things that are associated with you and what you do. It can take a little while to get it right, so I would suggest that you write out a few different things, write out some keywords and some messages that describe what you do, and have a look across the messaging that you have currently on your website and in your messages, your marketing communications, to see if there are things that are quite commonly used. Those are your preferred words. That's how you choose to describe your business repeatedly. They're probably quite accurate. And once you've got a few prominent keywords and you've picked out that there's some that describe what you do, some that describe who it's for using their language, and some that describe what value you add in things that are really meaningful to the client and very much about the client. You can start fitting that into the character limit for your social media bios. So once you've done that, you don't want to have to keep doing that. And it's not likely to change very regularly. You might make tweaks to it over time, but it's going to be pretty consistent. So I'd recommend that you save that in a digital note. So when you're replying to messages on your phone or on your computer, you've got a note that you can access quite quickly on the Notes app on your phone, or Google Keep, or sticky notes on the screen, somewhere that you can come back to it quite quickly and copy it to share in a message, in a reply, on some social content on your website as you're making edits. And it'll become like second nature over time. Next time you're in a Zoom networking call, you'll be able to open it up when somebody asks you for your elevator pitch, and you can save some of that mental energy for the future conversations. And you can also print it or write it in a notebook if you're going to in-person networking events, and they're going to make you say your elevator pitch and you've got it all prepared. The only thing to be aware of is if you're using that statement in your social media, do be careful about copy pasting the same content several times. If you write the same thing several times in quick succession, it makes you look like a bot. So then your accesses can get restricted whilst Facebook checks that you're not actually a bot. If you do it a lot, then the restrictions increase. And they're generally temporary, but you don't really want to do that. If you're engaging with somebody and you're starting a conversation, you don't want your commenting to get turned off. It also, I mean, if people are in several groups, they're going to see all of the comments anyway. So it's nice to not do several things the same in quick succession. And generally, if you're replying to a comment, some element of it should be personalized to the comment, to the post or the comment that you're replying to. So it can't just be bland copy-pasted text. It can just include that elevator pitch statement. So I hope that's helped. You've now got more confidence with writing your elevator pitch. If you just watched this and not written anything down, go back to the beginning and do your homework, because you're going to need to have a really clear elevator pitch to make sure that the value in what you do and who it's for is really relevant to that person, and they're going to contact you first to get that service from you.